I'm going to tell you exactly how to sleep better when you're anxious. I'm going to tell you my 8-step system. I'm going to tell you why each step works. I'm going to tell you how to implement each step. And I'm going to tell you the timeline for seeing results. For the last 15 years, I've been treating patients with anxiety and sleep problems. I've learned that anxiety and sleep are deeply connected. When you're anxious, you can't sleep. When you can't sleep, you become more anxious. This creates a vicious cycle, and most people don't know how to break this cycle, but I do, and I'm going to teach you. Anxiety is the number one cause of insomnia. Racing thoughts prevent 60 to 70% of insomniacs from falling asleep. Worry about sleep perpetuates insomnia. The more you worry about sleep, the harder it is to sleep. The harder it is to sleep, the more you worry. This is the anxiety sleep cycle, and it's powerful, but it can be broken. I had a patient named Rachel who came to see me about sleep problems. Rachel was 38 years old, and she had been struggling with sleep for about 3 years. She told me, "I lie in bed for hours with my mind racing. I worry about everything. I worry about work. I worry about my family. I worry about my health. I worry about not being able to sleep. My mind just won't shut off. I'm exhausted. I'm anxious all the time. I don't know what to do." When Rachel told me this, I recognized the anxiety sleep cycle immediately. I told her, "Your anxiety is preventing you from sleeping, and your inability to sleep is increasing your anxiety. But I can teach you an 8-step system to break this cycle. I can teach you how to manage your anxiety and improve your sleep. Within 4 weeks, you'll be sleeping significantly better." Here's what I want to know. Are you struggling with anxiety and sleep? Do you have racing thoughts at night? Do you worry about not being able to sleep? Let me know in the comments. Tell me about your anxiety and sleep struggles. Tell me if you're interested in learning this 8-step system, because your answer might help someone else who's struggling with the same problem. Let me tell you about the first step. Understand the anxiety sleep cycle. The anxiety sleep cycle is a vicious loop. Anxiety creates racing thoughts. Racing thoughts prevent sleep. Sleep deprivation increases anxiety. Increased anxiety creates more racing thoughts. And the cycle continues. Understanding this cycle is the first step to breaking it. When you understand the cycle, you realize that you're not broken. You're not defective. You're caught in a cycle, and cycles can be broken. The second step is cognitive restructuring, which means changing your negative thoughts about sleep. Most anxious people have negative thoughts about sleep. They think things like, "I dread getting into bed because I won't be able to sleep." They think, "This is terrible. I can't sleep and I'll be a wreck tomorrow." They think, "I'll never be able to sleep." These thoughts increase anxiety, and increased anxiety prevents sleep. Cognitive restructuring involves changing these negative thoughts to more constructive thoughts. Instead of thinking, "I dread getting into bed because I won't be able to sleep," you think, "Even if it takes a while to fall asleep, I'll be fine tomorrow." Instead of thinking, "This is terrible. I can't sleep and I'll be a wreck tomorrow," you think, "I can let go and trust my body's natural ability to sleep." Instead of thinking, "I'll never be able to sleep," you think, "I'm learning to sleep better." These new thoughts reduce anxiety, and reduced anxiety allows sleep. Rachel started practicing cognitive restructuring. Every time she had a negative thought about sleep, she would replace it with a more constructive thought. Within 1 week, she noticed that her anxiety had decreased. Within 2 weeks, her anxiety had decreased noticeably. She told me, "I can't believe how much my anxiety has decreased just by changing my thoughts. I feel so much better. The third step is stimulus control, which means breaking the association between your bed and anxiety. When you struggle in bed to fall asleep night after night, your bed becomes associated with anxiety and wakefulness. Your brain learns that bed equals struggle. Your brain learns that bed equals anxiety. So when you get into bed, your anxiety increases automatically. Stimulus control breaks this association. Here's how stimulus control works. You use your bed only for sleeping and for sex. All other activities, such as reading, watching TV, phone conversations, eating, drinking, computer work, should take place in another room. If you turn out the light and find you're not able to get to sleep within 10 to 15 minutes, you get out of bed. You go into another room and engage in a relaxing activity until you feel sleepy. Once you feel sleepy, you go back into your bed and go to sleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night and can't fall back asleep within 10 to 15 minutes, you repeat the process. Rachel implemented stimulus control. She stopped reading in bed. She stopped watching TV in bed. She stopped using her phone in bed. She only used her bed for sleeping. When she couldn't fall asleep within 15 minutes, she got out of bed and read a book in the living room until she felt sleepy. Then she went back to bed. Within 1 week, she noticed that her anxiety about bed had decreased. Within 2 weeks, her anxiety about bed had decreased significantly. She told me, "I'm not dreading bed anymore. I'm not anxious when I get into bed. I actually feel calm." The fourth step is sleep consolidation, also called sleep restriction. Many anxious people spend too much time in bed trying to sleep. They go to bed early, they stay in bed late, they try to get more sleep by spending more time in bed. But this actually makes matters worse. They end up spending even more time awake in bed, struggling to get to sleep. Sleep consolidation reverses this process by limiting the amount of time you spend in bed. Here's how sleep consolidation works. You calculate your current sleep efficiency, which is your total sleep time divided by your time in bed. If you're in bed 10 hours but only sleeping 5 hours, your sleep efficiency is 50%. You set a minimum sleep time, such as 5.5 hours. You only allow yourself to be in bed for 5.5 hours. You go to bed later and wake up earlier. This increases your sleep drive. When you get into bed, you're so tired that you fall asleep easily and stay asleep. As your sleep improves, you gradually increase your time in bed. Rachel implemented sleep consolidation. She was in bed 10 hours, but only sleeping 5 hours. Her sleep efficiency was 50%. I told her to limit her time in bed to 5.5 hours. She went to bed at midnight and woke up at 5:30 a.m. Within 1 week, her sleep efficiency had improved to 70%. She was sleeping 3.5 hours in 5.5 hours in bed. Within 2 weeks, her sleep efficiency had improved to 80%. She was sleeping 4.5 hours in 5.5 hours in bed. Within 4 weeks, her sleep efficiency had improved to 90%. She was sleeping 5 hours in 5.5 hours in bed. The fifth step is relaxation techniques, which means quieting your mind and relaxing your body. Relaxation techniques activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest system. When your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, your body relaxes. Your muscles relax, your nervous system calms down, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure drops. All of this prepares your body for sleep. There are several relaxation techniques you can use. Progressive muscle relaxation involves tensing each muscle group for 5 seconds and then releasing and noticing the relaxation. You start with your toes and work up to your head. This takes about 15 to 20 minutes. Slow, deep breathing involves breathing in for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and breathing out for 6 counts. This activates your parasympathetic nervous system and reduces your heart rate and anxiety. Cyclic sighing involves a double inhale through your nose and a long exhale through your mouth. Research from Stanford shows that cyclic sighing is the most effective at reducing anxiety. Body scan meditation involves bringing your attention to each body part and noticing sensations without judgment. This reduces racing thoughts and promotes relaxation. Rachel practiced progressive muscle relaxation every evening before bed. She would tense and release each muscle group from her toes to her head. Within 1 week, she noticed that her anxiety had decreased. Within 2 weeks, her anxiety had decreased noticeably. She told me, "I love progressive muscle relaxation. It's so calming. I feel so relaxed after I do it. I fall asleep so much easier." The 6th step is worry scheduling, which means containing your anxiety to a specific time. Racing thoughts about worries prevent sleep. Your brain is trying to solve problems at night, but nighttime is not the time to solve problems. Worry scheduling teaches your brain that there's a specific time to worry and bedtime is not it. Here's how worry scheduling works. You schedule 15 to 30 minutes of worry time during the day. During this time, you write down all your worries and concerns. You think about them. You try to solve them. Your brain learns that worries are handled at this scheduled time. When worries arise at night, you remind yourself, "I'll handle this during worry time tomorrow." You don't try to solve problems at night, you just acknowledge the worry and move on. This takes 1 to 2 weeks to be effective, but it works. Rachel scheduled 30 minutes of worry time every afternoon at 3 p.m. She would write down all her worries and concerns. She would think about them and try to solve them. When worries arose at night, she would remind herself, "I'll handle this during worry time tomorrow." Within 1 week, she noticed that her nighttime racing thoughts had decreased. Within 2 weeks, her nighttime racing thoughts had decreased significantly. She told me, "I can't believe how much this helps. I'm not thinking about my worries at night anymore. My mind is so much quieter." The 7th step is sleep hygiene, which means creating conditions for natural sleep. Sleep hygiene is a set of guidelines that promote healthy sleep. These guidelines support your circadian rhythm and reduce physical and mental stimulation before bed. They allow your nervous system to shift to parasympathetic mode, which is rest and digest. Sleep hygiene includes going to bed at the same time each night and waking up at the same time each morning, even on weekends. It includes not eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. It includes avoiding alcohol 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. It includes avoiding bright light 2 hours before bedtime. It includes avoiding caffeine in the afternoon and evening. It includes engaging in a relaxing evening routine for 30 to 60 minutes. It includes exposing yourself to bright outdoor light in the morning or early afternoon. It includes decreasing exposure to computer screens and cell phones 1 to 2 hours before bedtime. It includes maintaining a cool, dark, quiet bedroom at 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Rachel implemented all of these sleep hygiene guidelines. She went to bed at the same time every night. She woke up at the same time every morning. She didn't eat before bedtime. She avoided alcohol before bedtime. She avoided bright light before bedtime. She avoided caffeine in the afternoon. She engaged in a relaxing evening routine. She got bright light in the morning. She decreased screen time before bedtime. She made her bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Within 1 week, she noticed that her sleep had improved. Within 2 weeks, her sleep had improved noticeably. She told me, "I feel like I'm supporting my body's natural sleep. I'm not fighting against my body anymore. I'm working with my body." The 8th step is mindfulness and acceptance, which means observing your thoughts without judgment and accepting anxiety rather than fighting against it. Most anxious people try to fight their anxiety. They try to stop their racing thoughts. They try to force themselves to sleep. But fighting anxiety actually increases anxiety. Acceptance reduces anxiety. Mindfulness meditation involves observing your thoughts without judgment. You let your thoughts pass like clouds. You return your attention to your breath. You don't try to stop your thoughts, you just observe them. This reduces emotional reactivity. Acceptance practice involves accepting that anxiety exists. You stop fighting against it. You notice it without reacting. Paradoxically, acceptance reduces anxiety. Thought observation involves noticing racing thoughts and observing them like watching traffic. You don't try to stop the traffic, you just watch it pass. This reduces the power of your thoughts. Rachel practiced mindfulness meditation every evening. She would sit quietly and observe her thoughts without judgment. She would let her thoughts pass like clouds. She would return her attention to her breath. Within 1 week, she noticed that her racing thoughts had decreased. Within 2 weeks, her racing thoughts had decreased significantly. She told me, "I feel so much more peaceful. I'm not fighting my thoughts anymore. I'm just observing them, and they pass so much faster." Now let me tell you Rachel's complete journey. When Rachel first came to see me, she was lying in bed for hours with her mind racing. She was anxious all the time. She was exhausted. She was caught in the anxiety sleep cycle. I taught her the 8-step system. I told her to implement all 8 steps together. I told her that within 4 weeks, her anxiety and sleep would improve significantly. Rachel implemented all 8 steps. She practiced cognitive restructuring. She implemented stimulus control. She implemented sleep consolidation. She practiced relaxation techniques. She scheduled worry time. She implemented sleep hygiene. She practiced mindfulness and acceptance. After 1 week, Rachel was sleeping better. Her anxiety had decreased. Her racing thoughts had decreased. She was feeling more peaceful. After 2 weeks, Rachel was sleeping significantly better. Her anxiety had decreased significantly. Her racing thoughts had decreased significantly. She was feeling much more peaceful. After 3 weeks, Rachel was sleeping much better. Her anxiety had decreased much. Her racing thoughts had decreased much. She was feeling much more peaceful. After 4 weeks, Rachel was sleeping well. Her anxiety had decreased dramatically. Her racing thoughts had decreased dramatically. She was feeling peaceful and calm. Rachel told me, "I can't believe the difference. I'm sleeping so much better. My anxiety is so much lower. My mind is so much quieter. I feel like a different person. Thank you for teaching me this 8-step system." Now let me explain why these 8 steps work together. Each step addresses a different aspect of the anxiety sleep cycle. Cognitive restructuring changes your thoughts, reducing anxiety. Stimulus control breaks the bed anxiety association. Sleep consolidation increases sleep drive, making sleep easier. Relaxation techniques activate your parasympathetic nervous system. Worry scheduling contains anxiety to a specific time. Sleep hygiene supports your natural sleep mechanisms. Mindfulness and acceptance reduce emotional reactivity to anxiety. When you implement all 8 steps together, they work synergistically. They all address different parts of the anxiety sleep cycle. Together they can break the cycle. Here's what I want you to do this week. First, understand the anxiety sleep cycle. Recognize that you're caught in a cycle, not broken. Second, practice cognitive restructuring. Change your negative thoughts about sleep to more constructive thoughts. Third, implement stimulus control. Use your bed only for sleeping and sex. Fourth, implement sleep consolidation. Limit your time in bed to increase sleep drive. Fifth, practice relaxation techniques. Choose one technique and practice it every evening. Sixth, schedule worry time. Set aside 15 to 30 minutes during the day to worry. Seventh, implement sleep hygiene. Follow all the sleep hygiene guidelines. Eighth, practice mindfulness and acceptance. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Do these 8 things this week. Implement all 8 steps. Track your anxiety and sleep. Notice how they change. I guarantee you, your anxiety and sleep will improve. You'll feel more peaceful. You'll sleep better. You'll wake up rested. Now, I want to emphasize something important. These 8 steps work best when implemented together. You don't need to do all 8 at once. You can start with 3 or 4 and add more over time. But the more steps you implement, the better your results will be. And the combination of all 8 steps is most effective. Also, individual variation exists. Some people might see a 50% improvement. Some people might see a 30% improvement. Some people might see a 70% improvement. But the research shows that most people see significant improvements in anxiety and sleep when they implement these steps consistently. Here's what I know to be true. Anxiety and sleep are deeply connected. When you're anxious, you can't sleep. When you can't sleep, you become more anxious. This creates a vicious cycle, but this cycle can be broken. You can break it by implementing these 8 steps. You can reduce your anxiety. You can improve your sleep. You can feel peaceful and calm. You just need to know which steps to take and when to take them. The research is clear. Cognitive restructuring reduces anxiety. Stimulus control breaks the bed. Anxiety association. Sleep consolidation increases sleep drive. Relaxation techniques activate the parasympathetic nervous system. Worry scheduling contains anxiety. Sleep hygiene supports natural sleep. Mindfulness and acceptance reduce emotional reactivity. When you implement all 8 steps, you can break the anxiety sleep cycle. Here's what I want to know. Are you going to implement this 8-step system? Are you going to practice cognitive restructuring? Are you going to implement stimulus control? Are you going to implement sleep consolidation? Are you going to practice relaxation techniques? Are you going to schedule worry time? Are you going to implement sleep hygiene? Are you going to practice mindfulness and acceptance? Let me know in the comments. Tell me which steps you're going to implement. Tell me your results after 4 weeks. I read every single comment and I want to hear from you. Your commitment to these steps might help someone else who's struggling with anxiety and sleep. If this video helped you, please hit that like button. It helps me know that this content is valuable and it helps the algorithm show this to more people who are struggling with anxiety and sleep. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next video. I'm releasing a video next week on the specific foods that reduce anxiety and improve sleep, and it's going to show you exactly which foods to eat and when to eat them. Thank you so much for watching. I'm genuinely grateful that you spent this time with me, and I want you to know that you have the power to break the anxiety sleep cycle. You have the power to reduce your anxiety. You have the power to improve your sleep. You have the power to feel peaceful and calm. You just need to implement these 8 steps. You need to practice cognitive restructuring. You need to implement stimulus control. You need to implement sleep consolidation. You need to practice relaxation techniques. You need to schedule worry time. You need to implement sleep hygiene. You need to practice mindfulness and acceptance. And within 4 weeks, your anxiety and sleep will improve significantly. You'll feel more peaceful. You'll sleep better. You'll wake up rested. I'll see you in the next video.